Hey guys, Ultra Maximus back with the final part of my films of 2012 retrospect. Let's see who made the top cuts. The biggest hyped film of the year. And that's a pretty close statement too, because it could have easily been Spider-Man or the Avengers. I think more closer to the Avengers. But this film, I did like it. I will say I did like it. It looks good in IMAX. Half of the film is shot in IMAX. However, it's not a good superhero film. You can literally take the costumes off of Batman and Catwoman and it not change this movie one fucking bit. And that's unfortunate. I like a superhero movie, especially when I'm going to see Batman. This was a war film, absolutely. Kal-El Prime, a fellow YouTuber over in England, that's what he called it, and he hit it directly on the nose. That's exactly what this movie is. It's not a bad movie. Technically, this is a great film. It's a good watch, but if you're expecting Batman, don't. I mean, there's not much Batman in the film. I think of the 15 hours the movie seems to be, I think maybe get 10 or 20 minutes worth of Batman in costume in the film on screen, literally. And it's not much at all. Big surprises to me in the film. Tom Hardy as Bane, I didn't think I was going to like him. I loved the character. I did a really great job. And Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I was ready to hate her. And she really showed me how well she can act, especially in the scene where she's selling the thumbprint and she goes from a badass shooting and killing everybody. Cop walks in, she drops to the floor and squeals like the victim girl and crying and all that stuff. And then she walks out and snaps back into her badass mode again. Phenomenal actress. I was highly amazed with that. To me, those were the best parts of the film, flat out. Along with the visual look of the film is nice. The sound effects are really cool. Uh, you know, uh, Gordon Levitt as quote unquote Robin, I think that was kind of pushing it. It just the ending of the film is kind of and the biggest piss off to me is Michael Caine's Alfred. They turn him into a pussy in this film, a whining, sniveling pussy, which does not match his character from the other films. In the other films, he's boosting him. Hey, you can become this idea. You can become this the hero. They can hate and this and that and the other. And he was pushing and pushing. And in this one, he's like, I don't want to see you do this. I don't want to bury another Wayne family member. Meep, meep, meep. And it really irritated me. But for its flaws, it is a good film. Is it the best film of the year? Not by a long shot, but it is definitely a good film. Unfortunately, I think Chris Nolan hit his swan song with The Dark Knight. Nothing is going to top that from that man. Dredd 3D. Judgment is Coming. This is another film I didn't think I was really going to like. I went into this expecting not to like it. I did like the original version of the film with Sylvester Stallone. It had a very comic book feel to it, and it just looked like the comic books I read as a kid. And then going through this one with Carl Urban, I was like, ugh. But it turned out it's a good movie. It's violent. It is quite frankly, I think, the most violent film I've seen this summer and this year. And I've seen quite a few violent films this year. 3D in it looks really good. Once they get into the blocks, and you can see in the poster these giant city blocks, they get into this one block, and it's a drug war. It's what's going on, and it's Judge Dredd, another judge, going after this entire drug cartel in this block. The only problem with this film I have is when they're outside of that, it just basically it looks like Detroit, regular Detroit, with these giant city blocks, and they're supposed to be these big mega cities, and it just didn't look crowded enough. And I know they were going for a more realistic look, but it just didn't fit the comic book to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? The one thing I did like about this film with Carl Urban, who played a badass Judge Dredd, he never takes his helmet off, just like in the comic, which unfortunately in the Sly version, he took his helmet off because they had to get that face recognition of Sly Stallone. But this film, if you're a Judge Dredd fan, You're definitely going to like this movie, and you may like this one better than the Sly Stallone one. It just depends on which version of Judge Dredd you're really into. But definitely fun. Can't wait for the Blu-ray 3D. John Carter. Wow, this movie. I love this movie. If you hear this a lot, it's the Star Wars of this generation, and that gets thrown out around quite a bit. But I gotta say, this has got to be up there with it. This is definitely a fun film. It is on the level of Star Wars and Avatar as far as story. Of course, this is based off the Princess of Mars, an ancient. This character's actually been around for a century. The John Carter character. He's named in multiple books and TV series and films. It's a huge inspiration. This is where a lot of the sci-fi fantasy stuff comes from, is the adventures of John Carter and the Martians, and it is a great film. Unfortunately, for some reason, it just wasn't marketed right. The film is beautiful. It's a great story. The actors in it are fantastic. The lead actress in it is amazingly hot, and she does a great job in the movie, and for action and for acting. And it's just so fun. I don't understand why this movie didn't do better in the theater, other than the fact it's got to be marketing. And my personal opinion is they didn't target it right. They should have targeted it towards the kids. That's how you get the money out of the theaters these days, folks. Unless it's got a built-in audience like Transformers or Star Wars or Star Trek or something like that, you need that family, everybody to go in there. So they're spending, $50 to $100 a pop just to go see movies, and that's how you make your big money. And I think the big miss on this, the toys. There was so much. I was looking forward to toys off of this film, and we didn't get any, I don't think. Just the action figures alone, the aliens, these white apes from Mars here, all the different alien monsters, the little dog thing, the vehicles. It had the whole package. They just missed the ball on selling it, and it's a damn shame. I hope they do another film. I don't know. I think it just barely made its money back here in the United States. I don't know what it did overseas, and I don't know what the DVD releases are. I got a feeling they're probably not going to do another film. I hope they do, because I can't say anything bad about this movie. If you haven't seen this movie, go out right now and buy it. It's that damn good. The Expendables 2, Back for War. They're back again. This movie, a lot of fun. Again, this is a popcorn film. This is the sequel to Stallone's The Expendables, which is basically almost a parody of itself, where they're going back and taking all the action stars from the 80s and putting them together in one film. So we do it again. We get everybody back from the first movie, plus we're going to add Jean-Claude Van Damme, who makes a fantastic bad guy. Schwarzenegger comes back for a bigger role. Bruce Willis comes back for a bigger role, and we get Chuck Norris in the movie. Now, unfortunately, Jet Li's not in it that much. He kind of gets cut out a little quick in the film, which is unfortunate. But all in all, the film is great. We get Chuck Norris telling a Chuck Norris joke. We get Rambo jokes. We get Terminator jokes. We get Die Hard jokes. We get all the taglines from those films, and it's really fun. If you were a fan of those action 80s movies, you're going to like this movie. If you like the first one, you're going to like this movie. I'm looking forward to the third one. All right, Total Recall, another remake film. Of course, the first one starred Arnold Schwarzenegger and had Sharon Stone in it. This particular version is starring Colin Farrell here, and also has Kate Beckinsale and Jessica Biel, both looking hot. Kate looking the hottest. And this was actually a really good remake. I didn't think I was going to like this. Turned out I did. It's really well done. Why this was not in 3D, I don't know. There are so many scenes in the Australian colony and in the United Federation of Britain that would have looked fantastic in 3D. The scenes where he's in kind of the Chinatown, and then the scenes where on the magnetic cars and the car chase. I mean, all those would have looked really, really nice in 3D. Why they didn't do it, I don't know if it was a budget issue. It just looks like it should have been at least converted. Maybe we'll get a converted release to DVD. Who knows? Kind of like iRobot. But yeah, really good film. It does have some flaws in it, but overall, I really did like it. And what impressed me the most in the film, Kate Beckinsale's character, who was played by Sharon Stone in the first film, is really the big bad. She's the one hunting down uh, Quaid in this movie, and or Hauser, whatever you want to call him. And she does a great job. She's an evil, badass, hot bitch, and does a good job being the bad guy, hunting him down. There are all kinds of nods in this movie to the original. You've got, they're talking about, when they're talking about recall, like go to Mars and get your brain fried or whatever. And he says, well, I'd like to go to Mars. And there's also where they're in the fall. It's kind of a airport type thing, and they're going through the scanners. There's a big, fat, ugly woman with red hair and the scarf that really resembles the woman from the original Total Recall, which was the disguise. So there's a nice nod to that because that's the whole disguise scene going through the airport type of thing. And a few other ones in there. Just really nice, really cool, surprisingly good film, and a good remake. So definitely check it out.